Hello, friends. I don't know how to say your name. Capillaries? Oh yeah, capillaries. No, we have not abandoned PSPO. We'll talk a little bit about that. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. We get a little timing here. Twitch is weird where it takes a little while to notify everyone who follows us that we're live. So we give people like a 10-minute head start to start rolling in from all the announcements everywhere and stuff. But welcome on in, everybody. How is everyone? Mr. Ducks, hello. You are indeed first. I can confirm. Although I guess technically I was here first and maybe Adriano too. The little dino nuggie, I love your name. Oh my god. Little dino nuggie, hello. Smoker, hello. Undot, welcome back. Redash, hello there. Hello. Capillaries, hello, hello. Freya, hello. I love the name Freya Alea. Ooh, that rolls right off the tongue. Hey, Chewy, welcome back. Maluna, hello, welcome in. Horses indeed. That should have just been my title, huh? Just horses. Hi, Gon, welcome on in. Yes, the community has grown. We're going to talk about that too. There's been a lot of attention this week. It's very exciting. So we'll get into the introductions, but just to give you guys an outline of what to expect for this stream. Normally our streams are about an hour long, but I have no problems going beyond that hour if everyone has enough questions and we got enough content to go through. What I'm going to be doing is really talking about the Legend of Khiimori specifically. All the different news and updates for all the new folks who maybe just recently found our game and don't know what we're all about. I'll talk a little bit about Aesir Interactive, the games that we've made before, and I'll go into all the patch news and updates and developer diaries for Legend of Khiimori. Hi, Meyer. Welcome in. Yeah, Meyer, it's a very diverse group. Our games are very different from each other in a lot of cases, for sure. Yes, Maluna, we will be talking about horses. You think you rode yourself into a ditch, Troy, is going to be horses? Nay, Undot, nay. To thee I say. For those who don't know me yet, I'm a little old man, and I am infinitely familiar with dad jokes. So I'm sorry, and you're welcome in advance. What do you call a fish with no eyes? What do you call a fish with no eyes? A deep sea dweller. Oh, that's actually good. I like that one. I was gonna say dinner. Blind. Hello, Senior Manor. Welcome back in. Sea sheep. I don't know why. I love that name. What is a sea sheep? What do you call a deer with no eyes? CA and I have no idea. No idea. I'm stealing that one. I'm stealing that one. Oh, Chewy, that one's easy. A myth. No, you can't see me yet. I'm waiting for the timer to count down. Hello, Elder Blue. I don't know. It's never happened before. That's a true. 1000% correct. A fish with no eyes. I'm gonna make a tweet really quick, which will be late for a lot of folks that that may see it, but It's always good to have thrown out there. Alrighty, I made a post. Having weird issues with quote retweets, not able to like they keep getting deleted every time I make one, so I have to make just standalone tweets, which is kind of dumb. I did see it, Smoker, and I'll talk about all that too. Man, I set looking for software developer jobs on LinkedIn and I get notifications for completely different things. I hate LinkedIn. Yeah, it's hard because when I do job hunting, you know, at this point years ago, I would search for community manager. Well, unfortunately, that includes real estate communities like condominium communities and HOAs. So it was like half real estate and then like a handful of like entertainment or video game jobs. It's a really frustrating and conflicting title. Question, Troy, is all of the Aesir team in the Discord or no? No, it's only a fraction of folks that are in there. And we'll talk a little bit about that too when I talk about Aesir in general. This is my first time here and I already love the positive energy. Feels really welcoming. Well, Freya, that means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. That's something that we strive for here. How are you doing, voice with no face? We're working on it. 1 minute left. 1 minute, and then you will see what I look like, which isn't a surprise if you've watched any of our VODs before. But Fireheart, welcome on in. I also hope everyone is doing very well. Little Dino Nuggy. Hi, I just found out about the game a day ago, and I'm super excited for it. Glitched, welcome in. We are glad to have you here. Glitched Gladiolus. That sounds so... you guys have some really good names in here. Well, Chewy, I will say we are always looking for technical artists and I think game designers. Don Romney with uneven first of all, hello, welcome in. With uneven terrain, will you have to pick out a careful path like Death Stranding to keep the horsey from stumbling? Thanks you. That's a really good question, and we'll talk about that. Well, Chewy, I don't think I can help you then, but stay tuned. I believe we're working on a new website that's much more informative, shows all the stuff going on with our games, features our Discord front and center, blogs, stuff like that will be included on it. CM is often underestimated as having own QA. Yes, that's true. That's true. We are often thrown into multiple categories for sure. So I don't remember where I saw your game. Maybe it was Twitter or something, but I'm quite excited for the horses part. There's been too far and few good horse games. I'm hoping maybe it will be good as Red Dead. Very fabulous comment. We'll talk about that too. It's time. Where are you? Look at that. Smoker's on it, man. Smoker is just ready to go. Hi, chat. All right, I'm gonna put the banner up for now, and then we'll get into all the other fun stuff after. Pull it up. There we go. There we go. Hello everybody, welcome on in. My name is Troy. I'm the community director here at Aesir Interactive. Welcome all the new faces. We're so glad to have you here. We have lots to talk about. This is probably mostly going to be a talking stream. And we're gonna go over a lot of the stuff about Aesir that people may not know, since we're an indie company and a lot of people don't really know what we do, what we've made before. And from there, we're going to talk about the Windstorm series. We're gonna play Start of a Great Friendship, which is the very first game that was released in the series, and then we're gonna talk all about the Legend of Khiimori, which I imagine is why like 99% of you are here today. So let me catch up on chat and then we'll go from there. Let's see. I was just about to ask about the website. Yeah, there you go, Mr. Ducks. Oh, yes. Give me more stuff to look at. Yes, indeed, Dino Nuggy. Sim Production, welcome in, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you could make the stream. I don't know if you want me to reveal who you are, Sim. So you can do that, or you can give me the go ahead and I will let people know, because there may be some relevant questions that people have about what you do. I see an Unreal Engine developer post, but I don't have 5 years of experience with it, not even a month. Yeah, it's kind of hard. When you're searching for technical jobs, you often see, like, it's really frustrating. You'll see you need 5 years of experience with this program. It's like, well, this program's been out for 7 months, so no one has 5 years of experience with that. What are you talking about? Let's ride. Beard, indeed. I have a big old Kratos beard, for those familiar with God of War. There you are. Here I am. Yes, I'm so excited. As one of those weird horse girls, we've been lacking good horse games. Welcome. You are one of us, Rico. Reiko? It's Ame Reiko or Rico? If it's supposed to be Japanese, it's probably Reiko, right? Is this game going to have a lot of microtransactions that you see in games nowadays, or will it be a one-set purchase that gives you the full game like Baldur's Gate 3? One of my favorite games of all time. I have over 600 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. That's a great question, Blessed. Thank you. You lied. You're not even old. Okay, for the record, I'm 40. I may not look it, but I'm basically 1 foot in the grave. So he's middle old. That's such a good stealing that term, Senior Manor. You would know, Senior Manor. You would know. As an equine professional and lover of Mongol culture, I am so excited. Appaloosa, I believe you are in our Discord. I remember that name. Or on Twitter. I do remember your name, though. Welcome back in. Sure. So for those who don't know, Sim Production is one of the consultants and folks that we work with at Aesir. He is our incredibly talented and quite beautiful sound engineer. And some of the things that Simon is doing, we're going to talk about when we get into the game itself. Who's Sim? There you go. Sorry, I had to order late lunch at Dairy Queen. What'd you get, Smoker? Are you going to share with us? Rico, you said it. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Internship for LucasArts, 20 years experience at age 20. Yeah, that's true. Kratos with a worse sleep schedule. I don't know if Kratos has that great of a sleep schedule. He's pretty cranky. People who don't like horses and outdoors are weird. Concur. But weird's also good too. I like weird. We've been lacking horse games. I have one that's good, and then Minecraft. What's the good horse game that you like? I'm 25, Smoker. Fantastic. How old is everybody doing? I think everyone's doing really good. I'm so excited you're all here. Very true. I have to go take care of some ponies soon, so I'm sad I'll miss most of the stream. Well, the good news, Rico, is that all of our streams, all the VODs, get put back here on Twitch as a rewatchable highlight, but then also added to our playlists on YouTube. So you can watch any of our streams at any time. We realize that we have a very international audience, being a German studio. I myself am in Los Angeles, so I'm a 9-hour difference from Aesir. Okay, so let me get into what Aesir is all about and why we're here today. So again, my name is Troy and I'm the community director here at Aesir Interactive. Adriano is my beloved right-hand man as a community manager. He's lurking in the moderations behind the scenes, but you'll also see him make posts and talk in Discord and tweet, and sometimes he may join us on the streams in the future. We're not sure exactly yet what we're going to be doing. I joined Aesir Interactive about 1 year ago, and before that we had no community team. And that's really common for a lot of indie studios, especially if you work on a lot of small projects. Most of the time we rely on the publishers for marketing and community management and feedback, all that good stuff. But Aesir decided that they really wanted to take the plunge into evolving their studio, so that's why they brought me on board. And my role since I've been joining is to create new traditions and processes within the company. So something that we're doing at Aesir that we've never done before is creating a tradition of radical transparency and collaborative development. And what I mean by that is radical transparency is if we mess up, we're going to own it. But also on the other side, we're going to be doing live streams like we're doing right now. But I'm going to be playing Police Simulator, Patrol Officers, in the Unreal Engine. You're going to see under the hood of the development of the game and why this glitch happens, why these cars work in traffic the way that they do, why this character, when you're having a dialogue option, what is triggering behind the scenes to make that dialogue happen. All of that stuff is the transparency that we're talking about, because I want to demystify the video games industry. There's so much about the video games industry that a lot of our gamers and community and players don't know about, and that's the stuff that I want to fix. That's the stuff that I want to remove, because when all that is taken away, all that matters at the end of the day is that we're making great games and having fun with each other. That's literally all that matters. We don't care about anything else, and we're not always going to get it right. I'll be the first to admit that, but we will admit when we mess up, and we'll own it, and we'll learn and grow from it. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing this extremely early access to Legend of Khiimori. We don't even know what the full scope of the game is going to look like yet. So a lot of the stuff that you might have seen Alice's tweet about, all the amazing stuff that's happening, it may have no combat, it may have character creation, all of that is totally up in the air. We don't actually know yet what's happening. As of that moment in time, it was true. But with the recent attention of the game, we're reevaluating the game at all stages and going like, okay, well, now we're getting a lot of feedback about this, because now we have a lot more folks that are following us and a lot more folks that are giving us feedback. It looks like a lot of people really want this, or they really don't want this. How is that going to change the game? So we have meetings all the time. We talk about scope. It sounds like parenthood. It's a little bit like parenthood. It is. Yeah, and I think that it's really the right path for all of us, because the collaborative development part of the tradition that I was telling you about is we want to build the games alongside you, because of course we have a vision for a game, and that vision may change over time, but early access on Legend of Khiimori is going to give us the option to give you guys, like, you know, monthly updates or bi-monthly updates where you're going to be able to see stuff that you want in the game or stuff that didn't work being added or removed. And we don't know how quickly that response time is going to be, but there's going to be some sort of roadmap that we're going to follow, and then within that there's going to be, you know, reasonable patches and stuff like that. Wait, you guys have collabed with BMW? Yes, we did. We've done, well, I was not there at the time. Aesir Interactive has done like collaborative technical design specs, so you could do like, you know, like a car builder that was for their website, stuff like that. Project before our time. Yeah. Let me catch up on chat and we'll continue. Ranch of Rivershine. Oh yeah, people do love Ranch of Rivershine. Awesome. Gonna have to watch the VOD later. Please do, Rico. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. The people on Twitter being angry over no combat, like every other game doesn't have combat for them. Yeah, and I think there was like a misunderstanding about what that means. Just because there's no combat, which there's very likely going to be combat, there's going to be something that you're going to have to do as some sort of conflict. But even if there was no combat at all, we're still going to have horseback archery in the game, because that is something that Mongolian riders are very well known for. It's something that they are really world famous, historically known for. And we have archery in our second Windstorm game, so it would be kind of silly to not have any form of archery in the game. So a lot of it is misunderstanding, reading off of one tweet and not really understanding the full scope. But that's also because our full scope hasn't been built out for the game yet. It's ever evolving. Is he going to do a face reveal on stream sometimes on Friday? Oh, you must meet Adriano? Yeah, probably. We'll get him up to speed if he wants. I come from 4 years full-time of streaming, so for me this is a very natural environment. Transparency is a great mode, makes us feel like part of the team rather than just players of a game. Hell yeah, I agree. My man will play this game alongside me if we can get 2 good PCs to be able to play it. That's true. That's awesome. I love the openness you guys are going for. Great change from Rockstar, for example, who never speak to their community. Yeah, I can't speak because I never really play Rockstar games. I'm not a big GTA fan. I did play a little bit of Red Dead, but that was just to play it. I don't know what their community team is like, but Rockstar is also a gigantic studio. Realistically, they have multiple studio offices and a lot going on. Eva Live. I did. That was a fantastic horse RPG game for a horse-loving kid. I recently got a version working on my PC, but it's kind of janky. I did hear that because it's not updated. Did anyone play Riding Champion Legacy of Rosamund Hill? I've never even heard of that game. So that's the one you're talking about, Iva. That's wild. I've never heard of that game. I'm not a huge horse game expert. Really, that's Alice's sphere. She's the horse expert. Moving your horse forward IRL can already be combat. Yeah, if you're a developer, that's true. That's already combat. I feel like battle the hurdles that are going to be natural threats when traversing through wilds could be a fantastic realistic touch. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you also could add, you know, like Tomb Raider type puzzles where you have to, you know, solve weightlifting puzzles or sand, glass puzzles, things like that. There could be traps that you could set. We have no idea. The possibilities are pretty endless, but there's still with you know, a scope that we want to work with. One of the confusing things is that there are a lot of stakeholders involved in this game, and by that I mean we have Aesir Interactive, of course, as the developer. We're the ones coding and making the game. We're also working alongside another developer to help build out some of the systems internally. And we have our publisher, which is Mindscape Games. They've helped us publish the other 2 Windstorm games as well. Technically 3 if you include the first game being remastered. So the last 3 Windstorm releases, I should say, they helped us bring those to life. And then we also have Aesir Entertainment, who are the owners of the Windstorm franchise. For those who don't know, Windstorm is a series of films and books that are very popular in Central Europe and a little bit internationally, not so much in America, but it's otherwise known as Ostwind, which obviously translates to Windstorm. And so that's the lore that we're basing off of. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we go into the actual games themselves. Really, you've been streaming for 4 years? So before my time here at Aesir, yes, I was a full-time streamer myself, with my own brand and my own name and all that stuff. I've also worked for a video game bar. I've worked for multiple studios. I've worked for a marketing agency. So I have quite a varied marketing experience when it comes to video games. We love that too. It's really nice to be able to be so transparent and with the community and communicate directly. Indeed. That's Adriana, by the way, behind the Aesir Interactive account. I love Troy. He's amazing to be with. Well, I appreciate that, Smoker. We love you too. Just catching up on chat. I was into Gallop Racer as a teen. Hey Troy, SteamDB says you're still updating a lot of the branches and depots with Windstorm Remastered. Since there's no update publicly available, what's going on there? Oh, so there's lots going on. So branches, there's lots of internal branches that might get reported by Steam as well, because we have like a QA branch where that's where they go and test the game. We have influencers checking out almost like a private beta test. We have all the internal developers that are working. So like as far as branches go, I mean, even something like Legend of Khiimori has probably like 14 branches, because there's all different things. Different stakeholders need their own. We have a marketing one that has no voiceover, and it has a fully fledged out UI. We have one that has no UI, that is only working with cheats. Lots of that stuff. But we are constantly collecting feedback on Start of a Great Friendship Remastered, and we are working on a patch that will probably come out in about a month or so. We have lots of patches and updates coming for that game, so definitely stay tuned to this winter. We'll be talking about that pretty soon. Great question, though. Thank you so much for that, Meyer. Let's see. Frisian and Warlander and Fjords. Oh my. Hi all. Welcome on in, Jimmy. Welcome back. When are you going to go play Red Dead? Make sure to set aside about 300 hours for it. If you want this game to be great, everyone on the team has to spend time with the horses there. Oh, we do. I don't know if you saw Alice's tweet, but she calls that her horse game. It's unequivocal that Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best horse games to come out in a long time, which was really one of the major inspirations for making this game, because we wanted Red Dead without the combat that Red Dead has. And that's really what Alice meant when she said no combat. It's not like a combat game that also has a robust horse system. This is a horse game that also has other systems added into it. The horse aspect is what we are focusing on primarily. Everything else will be based around the horses, realistically. Horses is something that we know very well. I know you guys are super early into development, and I don't know if people online are getting perhaps a little too hyped up, but when I first heard the Legend of Khiimori, people compared the game to Death Stranding, which does sound super cool, but Death Stranding also has some pretty in-depth mechanics when it comes to how you traverse the world. Troy, do you know if the Khiimori team are thinking about mechanics like that, or is it still too early to say? Fantastic question. Really fantastic question. So the short answer is we don't yet know, because again, everything is evolving and it's in flux so much that every day we're having new conversations about, okay, well, they never thought about this, what about that? Okay, well, we talked about this, should we add this onto it? So the short answer is we don't really know. And there is a lot of comparisons to Death Stranding. I would argue that this really isn't going to be that much of a Death Stranding game. For example, like somebody asked earlier, I don't know if it was you, Iva, somebody asked earlier about if you have to balance specifically on your horse, or otherwise the horse will topple, kind of a thing. I don't know if we're going to get that in depth, because at the end of the day, we want people, we want a wider audience to be able to enjoy the game casually. Death Stranding was a very specific type of a game, almost like a Soulsborne game, where now it has its own genre, like a striding game or a stranding game. I don't think we're going for that in depth in terms of the mechanics for that. We are going in depth for the mechanics of horses. So breeding, taming, traits, food and water, stuff like that, the survivability of horses, breeding horses to be able to reach certain areas of the game that you couldn't reach before. Stuff like that are the things that we're going to be focusing on. Almost like if you kind of mix the idea of Death Stranding with like chocobo breeding. But chocobo breeding was much more robust and detailed. That's probably more or less kind of the path that we're going on. But again, like, nothing is set in stone. We don't 100% know yet. We really love our genetics. Not working on Windstorm, but a fan wiki of my former project. True. Didn't play Death Stranding, but balancing on a horse game sounds very hard on your fingers and hands. Yes. Yeah, I think whenever we build out systems in any of our games, we always think about the player engagement strategy. So is this rewarding players, or is this not respecting a player's time and effort? So that's something that I think is really kind of at the core of a lot of the systems that we make in a lot of our games. So for example, in our new upcoming game, Ambulance Life, a paramedic simulator, there's lots of detail you can get into with a paramedic game, but we also wanted to gamify it a little bit and suspend reality a little more, so that we could make that really fine balance between realistic scenarios and fun and engaging gameplay. And I think we found the perfect mix for that, which you'll see in a few months when we really start talking more about that. But that's the same mentality and vision that we're going to be taking into the Legend of Khiimori as well. Is there going to be an open beta for people to try and give feedback? So there's a couple of things that are going to be happening. The original roadmap was going to be, we were going to announce the game in May, and then around October time, we were going to go into early access, and we were going to have maybe like one playtest before that, just to give an idea that we were on the right path. But with all the recent excitement that's been going on in the last couple of weeks, we decided to push the early access back to sometime early next year, and instead have a lot of multiple playtests along that same time period, up to and leading to the early access release. And then the early access release, for those who don't know, is essentially you purchase the game early, but it's in unfinished state. And I cannot state that enough. The game will be unfinished, very unpolished, very brand new. Like, you can run around your camp. Like, that's how much you'll be able to do at first. But the goal is that we have constant communication with the community that's buying early access, and constantly iterating and updating the game based on that feedback, and then what our original development cycle was. So over time, the game will become more complete. If anyone is familiar with the way Baldur's Gate did it, that's very similar. That was a 4-year early access. We won't be doing that long, because our game won't be nearly as long or big or convoluted as Baldur's Gate 3 was. Plus, we don't have that kind of a team. We don't have 400 people working on the game. But that's the same idea. Whereas it started off, you only had one section of the game to work with, and then over time, more of it unlocked for those who purchased and bought in. So in that aspect, that's sort of like your beta. It's not going to be open for anyone. You will have to pay for it because you're buying the game early. But that will be the best way for people to jump into it who want to try the game out and help us build it collaboratively alongside the community. So long as there's dedicated pet button, I'm sold. We already have those in all of our horse games, Magrins, so I don't see why we wouldn't have it in this one. In fact, in Horse Tales, there was a specific order. You'd have every single horse had a preference to which order you would pet in. Some liked being pet on the side, the head, and then the nose. Some were the nose, head, and then side. Some were nose, nose, head. And once you figured out that combo, you would do that pet every single time, and it would, you know, increase their happiness and make them faster inside Horsetails. So that's stuff that we've done before. It was obviously a little goofier in Horsetails because that was like a very family-friendly open world game. It was cell shaded, very beautiful, but it was a little different than what we want to do with Legend of Khiimori. But yes, absolutely, there will be pet buttons. You will be able to pet the horse. Okay, gotcha. If there's one thing I think about when I revisit horse games I played as a kid or check out the new ones, one thing that keeps coming up is that I personally don't feel engaged in the actual riding part. And that's something that I'm really craving. That's amazing feedback. That's really good feedback, Iva. Thank you very much. I'll be noting that one down. Please don't forget in the making of horses that they're not always cooperating. I think Red Dead got that in a great balance and made them feel alive. That's a great point. A really great point. And we're gonna have a little bit of that too when you have to tame wild horses. You're gonna have to approach them differently than you would a horse that you're purchasing at the market, for example. And even if you purchase a horse from the market, how will they integrate with your herd? There's a lot to consider, and there's a lot that we want to get into with horses, and that's also a really great point. Seaship, thank you. That is great news, Jimmy. Thank you. Are you worried about your early access release being shadowed by other big name games or that are coming out early next year? So that's a really good question. I mean, quite frankly, if you look at, you know, like between February and March, just as, you know, a random timeline as early next year, there's not a lot of games that really compete to what we're doing. We're not really a direct competitor to, you know, GTA or Assassin's Creed Shadows. Of course, there will be horses in some of those games, but they're not horse games primarily, and they don't set place in Mongolia, which I think are two very unique facets that stand out for Legend of Khiimori. And I think that's what makes our game really unique. So it's a great point, but I mean, if we delayed for every major AAA release that was coming out, we'd never be able to release a game. There's something new. February alone, like, gamers are going to eat good. There's a lot of really good games coming out. When breeding horses, are we going to be looking at long wait timers? I like the idea of some realism and having to wait for foals, but I also don't want to wait a whole day for a new horse. That's a really good question, and that's something we haven't really come to a concrete answer on. So that's also a really good question to write down. The way the community can guide the game, this way the community can guide the game to success. Absolutely. With early access, that's absolutely the goal. Thanks for the detailed answer. You're very welcome, Appaloosa. Can we have 15-headed dragons though? Pretty please. Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing that's really and we haven't really talked about too much about this in the developer diaries, which we are going to get into, I promise. This stream is all about Legend of Khiimori. I will stay here long enough until your questions are answered. I might not have all of them, but I'll be taking note and answering everything that I can. So one of the things that we are starting to do finally is get all of our advisors in a group. So we have an advisory panel of actual Mongolian citizens that are helping us consult on game titles and pronunciations in the game, Mongolian script, possible lore and mythology, historical traditions, all this really cool stuff that only citizens of Mongolia can really consult on. And we're also in the process of getting in touch with lots of local institutions. So we have, you know, consulates and educational institutions, professors, things like that we're working with as well. It's really important for us to make sure that we represent the Mongolian culture in a positive and informative light. And it's something that's very important to me personally, but also to Aesir. Does this game have an after game? Because I'd love to be able to continue playing. We did the same thing in Horsetails, so I don't see why not. This is going to be a narrative driven game, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think that would make sense, you know, being able to explore the world after you've beaten it in a sense. But again, we don't know. We're not there yet. We're still very early. So it's a great question to consider. What kind of animal and wildlife will be in the game? Essentially anything that you can think of that would be in Mongolia. That's the goal. You're going to have, you know, in the woods, you're going to have woodland creatures. In the plains, you're going to have plain creatures. All that good stuff. Lol at waiting a whole day for a full when a lot of games I play are more like a week's wait. Oh, really? They make you wait? Is that because they're like free-to-play games and they're like they're idle? You have to wait that amount of time to pass before, you know, you can progress. Is that their way of like kind of like gate locking progress so that it's at a reasonable pace? That's wild. A whole week. Wait, you made that game? Horsetails? Yes, we did make Horsetails. Thanks for taking the time to answer everyone's questions. No, absolutely, Appaloosa. That's why we're here. We're only here for you guys. I'm not here to like stroke my own ego. I'm not here to like play simulation games because I'm obsessed with simulation games. I'm here to interact with you guys, with the community. That's the only reason I'm live right now. That's the only reason we go live every single Friday, is really just to interact with you guys and, you know, get a feeling for what the community is going. I mean, we have our finger on the pulse on social media anyway, but Twitch chats are a different breed entirely. I understand that, and when I first heard that it was getting the DS comparison, I felt that people were probably getting a little too excited. Whatever happens, I'm still really excited to see how Khiimori turns out. Yeah, I think that's really common with games, and that's one of the reasons that it's really risky to announce a game too early, because so it's a double-edged sword. Announcing too early has the risk that the community can sort of run away without you, and you have to kind of pull back the reins in a little bit and manage those expectations, because people might get too excited, or their expectations might be like, oh, this one person said this, I'll bet it's gonna be like that, and like, we never said that, but somebody's running with it, and then like it starts a whole avalanche of, well, now do we have to add that to the game? If we do, we have to delay the game. It's a whole mess. But on the other side of the double-edged sword, the benefit to Legend of Khiimori specifically is that we have that early access period for however long it's going to be, a year, 2 years, whatever, to build out the game that we want and manage those expectations. I think that's what's really great about the other side of that that scenario, is that we're early enough that we're having those conversations now so that we can manage those expectations. And I think that's really important. Is individual personality for each horse planned? Theoretically, yes. I don't have the direct answer for that, but we did do that in Horsetails. For those who don't know, Horsetails Emerald Valley Ranch was like a city builder game. You had to build up a ranch that was derelict and broken down. And so you collected resources, you completed missions, you competed in races to earn fame. And with that, you would get the resources to be able to build out your camps and your ranches the way you saw fit. And through that, we would also have horse breeding. You could buy horses, you could breed horses, you could tame wild horses. And within that, each horse had its own, not so much personality, but they had traits. So for example, I had one horse, her name was Dancer. She was fabulous, but she was a really great jumper. Like, she jumped higher and longer than other horses, but she was afraid of dark spaces. So when I went into some wood areas that were dark, that had no sunlight because they had tree canopies, I would have to constantly reassure her because she would get scared and slow down and not make jumps and things like that. So I had to get off the horse, feed her, pet her, groom her, and then get back on the horse, and then she was fine again. So there's things like that that we've already done in Horsetails that I can imagine would be easy to, not easy, but would make sense to translate into Legend of Khiimori. I really love games that give animals different personalities. I do too. Because it makes it feel more alive. It makes it feel like they're more like an extension of you rather than just an NPC character or animal in the game. Oh yes, herd mechanics sound amazing. Once this game comes out, I will have all the hours. It's gonna be. We're hoping to make it pretty in depth. Most game horses aren't more than meat taxis. That's such a gruesome term, but it's not wrong, unfortunately. It's not wrong. That's one thing I don't particularly like about Ranch of Rivershine. It feels like it takes a very long time to breed a horse and for the horse to grow. I also do not like how much time it takes to fully train a horse and the redundancy. Yeah, and I think part of it is too because this happens... didn't really happen in Baldur's Gate because there was a lot, like, you could replay that game a million times and there's so many different paths you can take. But if you look at games like Star Trek Online, I know it's a goofy example, but Star Trek Online, people, oh no, not Star Trek, it was Star Wars. It was the online Star Wars, the Old Republic MMO for Star Wars. That game was so good, but the problem was that the team could not create content fast enough. The second they would release it, gamers would be done with it within like a day. And they were like, okay, when's the next update? And they're like, guys, that took us 6 months to make. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's nothing else. Like, it's gonna take us forever to make more content. So there was a huge content drought because like there weren't, I don't know exactly what the design flaws were, if there were any, or if it was just the community was that rabid, or maybe the team was just too small. But it might be that there weren't enough, like, not gatekeeping, but I mean, I guess gatekeeping is really the right term used in a non-toxic format, but gatekeeping the content so that it flows without you absorbing all of it all at once, and now there's nothing left. I had that problem with Destiny 2 had that problem for me, where it was I would do everything and then you're just running the same raid over and over and over again to get a perfect roll on a gun, and after that there's nothing else to do. So yeah, it's a very delicate balance, and I feel like Ranch of Rivershine, that may be what they're running into, is maybe they just can't create content. They don't have the capability of creating content fast enough to keep up with the demand for the audience, so they're trying to gatekeep, time lock some of the stuff that happens so that it's like a slow release capsule over time. All right, thank you for the response. You're welcome, Sin. That was gonna be the next question. If you have Mongolian sensitivity advisors, that's awesome. Oh man, I'm so far behind, aren't I? I mentioned that like 10 minutes ago. I feel like the weight of horse aisle 3 with late stage pregnancy, meaning you can't ride the horse, only lead them. It feels a lot more realistic than foal just appearing. That's very interesting. I hadn't heard of that one yet. That's a really interesting. I think that makes a lot of sense for a game like that. That's cool. Is there going to be a pre-game release for Ambulance Life or not? So that's a good question. We don't know yet. So we're still working on the date and price for Ambulance Life. We're definitely going to have some more news soon, but you know, we're waiting on certifications and QA development and all that stuff to continue. So as soon as I have information, I'll let you guys know. But I mean, I think theoretically we would probably do a demo or something for Ambulance Life. I just don't know when that would be. How many horses will be able to keep? That's a good question, Fireheart. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to be. The idea behind Legend of Khiimori is you're building up your own nomadic camp. So you pack it down, build it up. You build up your camp, make it bigger, breed more horses, take care of your herds. You'll break it down, move to an area that's closer to where you have to deliver something, build it back up again, continue building, etc., etc. So the idea is that you're kind of building your own town, but you take it with you as a nomad. And then you have obviously different paths you have to take. You have to probably like take a route that is maybe least dangerous, but it'll take longer to get there. Or you could take the risk and take the shorter path, and maybe there's challenges that crop up during that path. There's stuff like that we want to explore and see what we can get into. But again, it's so early on, we really don't know yet. Horse Isle 3 is the main long pregnancy game I know of. Most players have dozens or hundreds of horses. That's crazy. The weight builds excitement and anticipation. So I think it makes sense as long as it's like a reasonable amount of time. But I think I don't remember who it was now that mentioned the week. They were saying like, oh, wait a day. That's cute. I wait a week. It might be that a week might be too long for that style of game. It really depends. Especially if you ride horses IRL, you know that traveling on horseback itself is full of impulses, and pushing the button W doesn't really satisfy our expectations. It's a great point. It's a great point. Make sure you write that down, Adriano. That's all really good stuff to take back to the teams. We have the IP. We're just starting, and hopefully we got you. That's the goal. That's the goal. Undot. For those who don't know, Undot does work at Aesir as well. Many, as far as I know, we don't have a number right now, but I saw many horses last time. Yes, we have access to very early builds, people who work here at Aesir, so we see the game as it's progressing. It's beautiful. It's really nice. Do the same people work on Horse Tales and on this horse game? Sorry for my bad English. Not at all, Fireheart. Your English is phenomenal. Whatever language you speak, your English is better than me speaking whatever your language is. I promise you. Like if you speak French, I promise your English is better than my French. I assure you. So the way it works at Aesir is we have like pockets of teams. We don't have, so for example, you saw earlier, Sim Productions is Simon. He's our sound engineer. He works on all of our projects because his job is varied enough that he has the ability to go from each one. We don't need a sound engineer to work on one game every single day. They move whenever they're needed to each project. So we have people like that kind of float around to where they're needed, but then we have set teams of, you know, like this artist is only working on this game, this producer is only running this game, stuff like that. Horse Tales is no longer in development, so at this stage all of those folks have moved on to multiple projects, but yes, a lot of them are working on Legend of Khiimori because they have that horse mechanic experience, bringing that into Legend of Khiimori's team as well. I love that I saw in the snapshot. I'm so happy. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool snapshots. We have a lot more concept art to share too. I definitely think that the horse game community are also starving for a solid horse game that isn't just for younger audience. Yes, that is the impetus to what we want to do with this game, because we have the previous Windstorm games and they're based off the films and books. We love them. They're very niche in what they are. They're family friendly, they're guardrails, they're fetch quest simulators, and they're very short because that was their intention. They were really like tie-ins for the movies. So the goal with this one is to work on the existing IP that Alias has already trusted us with and expand on that. And there's already lore inside the Windstorm series about Mongolia, and that connection to, you know, the ancient lands of these most famous horse riders in almost all of human history. So that's what we're building off of, and we wanted to make it a more mature game and open it up to core audiences who may not be horse game fanatics but might find their home in this game. We wanted to give folks that option, whereas the original Windstorm games and Horse Tales, they're obviously set for a very specific group of people. Everyone says that it's horse girls, but we got plenty of guys who plays the game too. I actually love Horse Tales. It's really fun. But yeah, that's something that's really important to us, is making sure that we open it up to broader audiences while also keeping the detail of horses that we know and love here at Aesir. Horse racing is so important to the Mongolian people. Correct. Is that something we can expect to see in the game? I hope so. It would make sense to, for sure. The same reason that archery is incredibly important, and we're going to be including horseback archery. That will absolutely be a facet of the game. It would make sense to have horse racing as well, and maybe even wrestling, since that's also very important as well. Worked on Horse Tales, currently Ambulance Life, sadly not going to Windstorm. Undot, we love you wherever you are. No fret. Right, I don't think the dev team has to do anything as complicated as DS with the world traversing, just because the team for Khiimori just isn't that big. But if they could figure out something like that fit for their game, that'd be a fantastic and truly make Khiimori stand out. Yeah, in terms of like walking mechanics, I agree. Sounds like Destiny 2, where they had to put physical stops and to put players some speeding through content. Yeah, I mentioned Destiny 2 before you even said that. That's so funny. Same thing happened with Temtem. Oh, I forgot about Temtem. We'd finished the new content like a few days or less. Yeah, and Temtem was a very small team too. I remember Temtem when it came out. Everyone's like, this is the new Pokemon. It was not. They couldn't keep up with the hype. We have enough equestrians though. True. I'm really hyped for this game, but I'm scared because Horse Tales that started at release was so frustrating. Fireheart, I totally understand, and that was before my time, so I wasn't there to work with the community directly on that. And one of the things that's really important to know too is that every developer has that isn't self-published has a publisher that they work with. The developer makes the game, they code the game, they build the game, they QA the game, and then the publisher is typically who helps that team market it, they fund it, and they're usually the ones who do community management afterwards. We didn't have a community management team for Horse Tales, so there were a lot of things that would have been early red flags for us internally that we would have known ahead of time that we just couldn't address. And there's a lot of really confusing, frustrating capitalism behind it too, where, you know, for example, let's say we were releasing a game today, right? 2 years ago is probably when the game started being worked on, but a year before that is when the contract was negotiated. And the contract is like, hey, you have X number of dollars and you have to build a game in X amount of months, and it has to have X number of features. And you're like, okay, that's great. But then things happen, things get in the way. We have issues where we can't run into things. You have you know, economical problems that are happening. Studios shut down, they shrink, you know, so lots of things can happen in that period of time, because 3 years is a long time, right? So what happens is sometimes things get delayed, and we have to put a hold on things. We have to cut stuff and put it on the cutting room floor. We have to remove features. We have to change the way a feature was originally promised and all this stuff. And unfortunately, Horsetails was a disastrous release. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. And we did our very best with the small team that we had. We've grown significantly since then. We have a lot more people working at Aesir than we did at that time. So we're a lot more cognizant of the issues that happened during Horsetails, and we are taking all of that and learning from it and pushing beyond. One of the things that hurts me the most is we had to stop development on Horsetails at a certain date. We went beyond that on our own dime. We were not paid to continue working on that game. We did it because we knew there was a major issue. Switch players couldn't play the game. There was a memory issue where loading a save file would crash the game. So we knew that we couldn't leave the game in that state. So we spent an extra 6 months on our own budget to make sure that that was addressed as best as we could. We optimized every single thing that we possibly could in the game to make sure that at least a majority of Switch players could still load their save files and continue playing the game. And we did do that. It did release. It wasn't perfect, and we know that. And so it's really just growing with that information and that knowledge and moving forward with everything that we know and making sure that it can't happen again. And that's our goal. That's why we're doing early access this time around. That's one of the many reasons. Is there going to be like shipment of different breeds of horses? I mean, that's a good question. There are going to be like marketplaces where you can trade horses. I know that much. But we don't know beyond that, really. And even what the details of that market's going to look like in Khiimori. Yes, even just details like starting the horse with W and the horse going for a while. Then you have to give another go forward command with W to keep the pace. Yeah, that's a good question. Or a good piece of feedback, rather. Will there be NPC horse breeders and traders, and we'll be able to tame wild horses? I love that aspect about RDR2, going out and searching for the rare horses. Please add rare, unique, special horses like that. Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't do that. We already had that in Horsetails, so that's definitely something that we want. We're gonna have like whole horse marketplaces, and I'm gonna show that when we get into the dev diaries. Our most recent one showed a concept, a mock-up of what that might look like in the game. In Horsetails, the max amount of horses dependent on min-maxing buildings. Yes, but I'm sure they'll be different in Windstorm. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more varied. I know a game I play, the mare is pregnant for a day, but then it takes a week for the foal to age and become rideable. Therefore, you can still work and train with the growing foal and not feel like a sitting duck. Oh, that's a really good compromise, actually. That still feels very engaging. That honors, that like respects the player's time. I like that a lot. Did I miss the stream? Bastille, you did not miss the stream. We are live. Where's Undot today? He's here. And they got Mongolia in their lore. True. What will the landscape look like? I know you mentioned open plains and forests, but how diverse will the world be? I'm not familiar with Mongolian landscape. So that's one of the really cool things about Mongolia. It has anything you can think of. It's got, you know, it's got mountain ranges. You got the Himalayas real nearby. You've got plains. You've got tundra. You've got forests. You've got rivers. You've got everything you can think of. It is incredibly diverse. Huge, 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 huge. Servers moin. Can you see my comment on my iPad? I can see your comment. Yes, I can, Smoker. I did play Horsetails and enjoyed it, but to be honest, it was due to the animations. It was a pleasant to watch and horses canter. I think you guys got it better than most other horse games in the market. Not so the previous Windstorm games. Yeah, no, we know the Windstorm games were very janky. The remaster of the first Windstorm game is actually very smooth. If we have time at the end of the stream, I will be showing that off a little bit. I've been playing that the last couple of weeks on streams. But yes, we fully recognize that. Keep in mind also, the original Windstorm game was like 7 years ago now, and our team was like 22 people. That's not a lot of people, and that wasn't the only game we were working on. So now we're over 100 people. I think we're about 105, 107 people now. And yeah, it's we're really excited for the future. We're really excited to really get going on Legend of Khiimori, and we got some really cool ideas. I can think of so many guy streamers who will probably try this game as a goof, but unironically fall in love with it. It's true, Magrans. I completely agree. I have a couple of streamers in mind. Like, I want Hasanabi to play this game because he's obsessed with Mongolian culture and Turkish culture. So I think that it would be, unironically, I think he would fall in love with this game. There's like, there's lots of stuff like that. We definitely are seeing that already ourselves, Magrins. We think that's gonna be the case too. Pal World may be under fire, but I love that game. I know the whole Nintendo thing is very strange right now. Pal World is a very beloved community. I've heard Troy is going to be the next Kratos with his majestic beard for God of War. I cannot compete with Christopher Judge. I'm honored, but the beard is not enough. Kratos is so much more. Boy. Yes, and yes. There'll be wild horses to tame. You can breed horses and you'll be able to buy horses. Yes. We didn't have a Troy for Horsetails. That's true, and we did not. And Adriano, sorry, mate. Speaking of archery on horseback, has anyone on the team played Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora? I have. Yes. What did you think about it, Maluna? Did you think that it did archery really well on, horseback, quote unquote, since it was also flying? I thought I read in the Discord that there was work being done on the soundtrack. Does that soundtrack include Mongolian instruments and music styles? In one of the early albums, the band The Who incorporated Mongolian legends, myth into their music, and I was wondering if the game's soundtrack score considered something similar. Gone. That is a great question. And I am happy to be able to talk about that right now. It's a great segue. So Simon was here earlier. He is our sound engineer. He is phenomenal at what he does, everything. And we really wanted to represent and respect the Mongolian culture as much as possible, while also representing it to audiences who may not know a lot about it, and maybe the lore that they know about Mongolia is Genghis Khan. That's like the extent of what they know about Mongolia. So we really want to open that up a lot. So here's some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the future. We have behind the scenes content that we're going to be putting together for a very special developer diary down the road. Rather than using a library of existing horse sounds, we are recording bespoke audio in Foley for all horse sounds. That is noises that they make, the sound on different parts of terrain. So gravel, sand, grass, concrete. All of that is being filmed live at an actual ranch. Adriano was there filming content for that, so that we'll be able to show behind the scenes. And once that's prepared, we are also, Simon's going to be working directly with authentic Mongolian musicians with authentic Mongolian instruments and creating a unique bespoke soundtrack and score for the Legend of Khiimori. That is something that we are doing. That will be you got a little bit of a taste of that from the reveal trailer. But yes, that is something that we are doing, and it's very important to us. And I am personally very excited. I am so excited for that. You have no idea. Wait, Adriano's in here today? Normally it's just Troy doing the streams. Yeah, Adriano's here. Of course, Navi are pretty skilled in bows, lol, but maybe some inspiration could be taken there from the dire horse riding or bows. Yeah, I don't see why not. I think we're looking at really anything that kind of touches what we're doing here. We have lots of research behind the scenes. We have like pages, and we have like an internal Wikipedia, and that is like where we have pages of research done for this game. I might be back, Troy. I got to do something real quick. No worries, Mr. Ducks. We've got it under control. 25th biggest studio in Germany. That's us. Indeed, we're the fun police in the wonderful Discord. True. Would you say with the hype around Khiimori that that has pushed it to take priority within your studio? So there aren't really games that take priority over others because we have dedicated teams in each. Every game is a priority for us. None of them fall to the wayside or anything like that. We love all of our children equally. Which is a joke, obviously, with parents, but we actually mean it. Boy. Still here. Hello, Simon. Welcome. If anybody has any questions about the sound and about music, Sim Production is who you can ask, or you can ask here and he'll answer. You can just ask in chat. He'll answer what he can, maybe. Is there going to be a choking call out on Ambulance Life? Probably. I don't know all the call outs. The variability of callouts is very varied. The bows in combat were awesome. Avatar is my favorite movie, so I about lost my mind with that game. Good, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know people were skeptical about it because they're very avatared out, so to speak. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with the game, because I think it's a really incredible lore. I mean, it's not like it's basically Dancing with Wolves, like every single one of these movies is, but I think that being on an alien planet really lends itself to a large game like that. Now that you mentioned, my husband's first question after I showed him the game was, will you be able to meet Genghis Khan? So we don't know the timeline yet. We don't know if it's going to be within the timeline before or after he's born. Equine Foley, I know there was a huge effort with Spirit. Yes, it was. I can't wait to see all that stuff. Oh my God, did I catch up on chat? That's incredible. How will be the growing of the foals? Will they grow slowly or just get adult after a period of time? So I don't know the answer to that, because we haven't really decided yet. We're still working on it, but I can show you now that I've caught up on chat. We can start going into all the different content here. So let me first, I'm going to do this, because we're going to stop the lo-fi, because we're going to play some videos. Go back into full screen. All right, I'm going to zoom in a lot here. Let me know if you guys can read this or not. Let me know if this text is an okay size or if I have to go bigger. I'll wait to see what people say. To go a little more into your detailed, a little more into your question, Smoker, because I know Ambulance Life is definitely your favorite game coming out soon. So as far as callouts are concerned in Ambulance Life, there are 17 primary callouts, but within those callouts, there's near infinite variables that can take place, including what the exact scenario is. Like, for example, you'll get a call out where it's a homeless person has been reported as injured. Okay, that could mean anything. So when you get to the call out, you realize, okay, they've been stabbed, or they may have overdosed on something, or they have a mental illness or something. It's going to feel different every single time you answer one of those 17 call outs. So the base call out is going to be very repetitive, but when you get there, it's going to feel new every single time. And within that, you'll have different scenarios, like, do they have pre-existing conditions? Are they on any medications? Has this happened to them before? All that stuff will inform your efforts in the call outs. Is there going to be music in Ambulance Life? Yeah, similar to not like during the shifts, you'll have the ambiance of the city, but like the menu will have it, just like a PSPO has. Are the horses going to die or get old? I don't know how I feel about that. It's a great question, Maluna, and we did address that. So we'll talk about that in the dev blogs. Good on Zoom. Okay, so that's the only person who said anything about it. So I guess we're good on the size of the text. Yeah. Do you know anything about the plant life in the game yet? We do not. We don't know. I mean, it's going to be native to Mongolia, but the good thing about Windstorm is that we have that fake fabricated lore to work off of, that we can sort of make up some stuff to go along with it too. We don't know how much realism or historical accuracy we're going to have in the game yet. It might be easier to go full mythological and have 15-headed monsters like Undot mentioned. Or if we want to base it in reality, then we take a little bit away from Windstorm. It's going to be a delicate balance. So we're going to see as we go. Well, the short answer is we just don't really know. When you travel and change your location, will your horses follow you to a new herd, or will you have just one horse and all the others will be in the new location? So we don't know what it's going to look like when you transfer Fireheart, but you are going to be moving. Your whole camp will come with you in one way or another. We don't know if you're going to see the whole herd behind you, for example. We haven't decided yet. To answer your question about the soundtrack, yes, we work with Mongolian musicians, and the music will be very much inspired by authentic Mongolian music, but adapted to the game. Perfect, Simon. Thank you. That would be cool. I know Ranch of Rivershine didn't do that, but I wish it did, and then I can keep breeding to keep the bloodline up. Yeah, good feedback. Okay. So let's start with the very beginning. Let's actually, before we do that, let's actually go to our YouTube, and we're gonna do the reveal for. My name is Troy. Oh, that's me. Hi, Troy. All right, let's see. Where is the reveal? We have it. Announcement. Let's watch the English version, shall we? All right, I'm gonna crank the volume a little bit. Let me know if it's too loud or if it's an okay volume. Okay, guys? I recognize that guy. It's me. It's this idiot right here. Hey, that Witcher ambiance playlist. I know.
Nor such. This is what the Mongols call human beings that were born with the gift to understand the language of the horses.
I hear their whispers. They are asking for help. I am ready to follow the call deep into the heart of Mongolia. Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori.
By the way, for those of you who are obsessed with Baldur's Gate 3, that is Zarel and Larida from Baldur's Gate 3. That's the same voice actress. Jess is incredible. Shout out to Jess. Hi, Satyr Power. Welcome in. Will there be a rare chance of twins? That's a cool question. We've never had that question before. Yeah, that's a really good question. Aloy. You think she looks like Aloy? I don't think she looks like Aloy. No robot horses in this game. I guess the red hair you can be kind of attributed to that, but the reason we chose red hair in this key art is because the main character in the Windstorm games is, well, it's Windstorm, but Windstorm's companion is Mika, who's the main character in all of the movies, the Windstorm movies, and she has red hair. So we wanted to like give like an homage to Mika from the Windstorm series with this game, even though obviously that can't be Mika because this is, you know, hundreds of years before Mika is born. Can you say the name again from BG3? Yes. So the really angry orc in Moonrise Towers, Zarel, and Larida, one of the dwarfs that's being held captive inside the forge. Larida and Zarel. The color palette of the clothes makes it look like Aloy, I think, but the red hair makes sense now. Oh, I can see why. Yeah, now that you say that, because like everything in Horizon Zero Dawn it's very tribal, so that does make sense. Does Troy have red hair? No, Troy's losing his hair. Yes, Jessica Carroll. Jess is incredible. Yeah, Zarel's where Zarel simps here. Let me pull the next one up. We'll probably watch the developer one in here. Yeah, we'll just do that one. I'm gonna pause it though. We're gonna go through these first, and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so so this is our first developer diary. So we're doing a developer diary every single month. And these are going to be based on specific things. So the first three, not including the early access announcement, which was technically number 3, but 1, 2, and 4 are all really talking about like the environment and the game design involving the environment. So why and how we're taking the Windstorm series to historical Mongolia. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we're going to go over some of the highlights. There's a lot of text here. In fact, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give you, this is the link to it. This is all the news so far for Windstorm Legend of Khiimori. You'll see, like, when you actually get into it, there's a lot here. So this is the official reveal, which is the trailer we just watched. We're very excited to announce Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori, an epic open world adventure game where players will explore breathtaking landscapes on horseback, featuring high fidelity graphics and unparalleled realism in equine behavior and animation, developed on Unreal Engine 5. Taking on the role of an ancient courier rider, players will complete difficult missions, cultivate their nomad camp, and train and care for majestic horses as they unravel the mystery of Khiimori, the mythical wind horse and the spirit of the earth and sky. And the original plan was to release an early access this month, but obviously this month ends on Sunday, so that will not be happening. Our current goal is early access 2025. Yeah, we can read the rest of this one. This one's not that long. In Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori, players will embark on an epic adventure set in 13th century Mongolia, stepping into the role of a young courier rider. Horses will be essential to survival and safety as players breed horses, tame new ones, and train them to aid them in their charting of the sprawling Mongolian landscape. As they immerse themselves into the game's expansive open world full of wonders and intriguing tales, players will need to strategically plan their routes through difficult biomes of beautiful yet harsh terrain and master the challenges of the wilderness to complete their missions. So yeah, that's what we're building. So from here, we'll go into the first developer diary. Really, we're just going to skim through and look at some of the really cool concept art for those who haven't seen it yet. And I'm going to hover over it so it just literally makes the whole screen. So this is an example of a yurt, otherwise known as a gur. This is essentially the concept of what's required. So we need, how is air circulating? How do we stop water from coming in? All of this research was done very heavily. Special designs done for the doors of the gurs. All this stuff was taken into account. These are examples of some uniforms or outfits. Incredible palette. I love that teal so much. More details into what the outfits are comprised of. And some of this, again, this is concept art. This isn't stuff that's going to be directly translated to the game. This was our first hand at creating Mongolian styles. It's 6 a.m. and I'm finally able to catch a little of your stream. Welcome on in, Rakdos. Welcome on in. Don't worry, the VOD is going to be available on YouTube as well, so you'll be able to have full access to the whole thing. It'll be uploaded probably like 2 hours after the stream ends because it takes a while to upload HD to YouTube. I love how the goal of the game is to be the courier rider, yet no one really asked about it. It's true. Everyone assumes it's going to be Death Riding. Everyone just is Death Stranding rather. It really shows what the players can actually enjoy in a game, and the main goals and quests are just to give a canvas. True. More outfits. Not going to hover on this one too much longer. It's similar but different. This is going to be player interaction points. So these will be like waypoints or specific areas or points of interest. This is, an idea of how we might denote that inside the game. So if a player sees a green banner from a relative distance, they know that, they're in a safe zone or something like that. More outfits. And this is showing us how seriously we're taking the animations. Now, of course, these are not perfect. These were probably maybe second or third drafts of an animation. And this is feeding a horse. I'll let it run a few times. I love how close he is to the camera. It's so nice. The sneef. Look at the big snuffer. I want to boop the suit. Boop. I love it. And this is an example of a walking animation. The whiskers on the end of the nose is what does it for me. Gone. I love the whiskers. The white whiskers on the black nose is so good. And again, the head bobbing is not 100% accurate. This is honestly rough drafts of what to expect in the game. We are taking horses very seriously. Alice has been studying horse animation for well over a decade at this point, and she is a hardcore equestrian. So animation is definitely something we are taking very seriously. And they're all bespoke animations. They're not pulled from a library. How big or small can the horses be? That's a great question. It is going to be within the breed restrictions based on the horses. So we are going to be realistic in that respect, but you will be able to crossbreed, obviously, with limitations. It still looks so nice as rough drafts. We appreciate that, Amethyst. Thank you so much. All of our animators and artists are amazing at what they do. They really are. I'm really blessed to be working with such a talented team. This is an example of, what a mission building might look like. So this is where you receive your courier missions, for example. You can see the waiting area. You see one courier with a backpack on. All the mission notes hanging on the rope there. Supplies inside and out. Yes, everything that you're seeing on this stream and everything that we're talking about is a work in progress. It could change tomorrow, especially with all the new recent attention to the game. We're taking a look at everything that's been going on and you know, what can change, what should we add, what should we take out, all that good stuff. We'll be able to craft or buy different tack that looks different. I imagine so. I mean, you could do that already in Horsetails. So I think it would be kind of silly not to have different tack options and different clothing. Any clues there might be mini games that we talked about? Oh, hi Phoenix. We don't know. I would love to. I would love to have all those mini games added. There's some really cool stuff that that is native to Mongolian lore that would be really fun to add. Here's a horse grazing animation. This is actually one of my favorite animation videos we've ever made because it's so up close. Hi, Meanser. Play one more time. Crunch, 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 crunch. The lips are so good. What I really like about this animation is that the camera is tied to the end of the mouth, so it gives you that like really weird steady cam, but it shows the detail of the lips. It's so great. It's so great. Unreal lets us do some really cool stuff. All right, so we celebrated Nadam this year. Nadam Festival is known for 3 major events, and one of them is horse racing, archery, and wrestling. Those are the 3 major events in Nadam. There's of course a lot of other sports included, but that's essentially the primary goal. And Adriano filmed some traditional Mongolian treats for the office.
It's Nadam, so let's make Mongolian food for our game studio.
This was such a cute video, Adriano. You nailed this. This was so good. We are too, Meanser. I know, like, we're talking really a lot about Legend of Khiimori just because of the new audience that we've received, but Smoker, who's in here as well, is also obsessed with Ambulance Life, and I am too. And Ambulance Life will be coming out before Legend of Khiimori's early access does, so don't worry. The stream is going to have lots of Ambulance Life content in it too. In fact, I'll link you to our previous, we did just a talking stream. The previous one was for Ambulance Life. I'm going to link you to that in a moment, Meanser, when this is done. I'm so sad, Adriano. I wish I could have tried them. They look so good. Look at that beautiful Adriano hand. Ah. Oh, it's so fluffy and crispy. Oh, this is Andreas. He was surprised. He was like, oh. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Great job, Adriano. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those who want to know, this is the ingredient list. This is in the Steam news, so you can find this right from here. Compliments to the chef. Awesome video. Might actually make that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to make. It was at least that's what Adriano said. It was pretty straightforward. All right, and oh, we skipped way ahead. That's weird. There we go. Open world. Welcome back, Mr. Ducks. All right, so again, we're not going to go over too much of the details. Some of the really cool stuff. This particular developer diary was actually very fascinating from a game development standpoint. So we talk a little bit about Red Dead in here and what other games do to inform player behavior. So subconsciously training the player to be on the lookout for something. And by that we mean like the same rock can be used in a million different areas, but the way like a featureless plane can be given so much more life just by adding moss or the right shaped boulder or some extra weeds or flowers. But these are just some stills from inside the game engine itself. So this is kind of the fidelity that we're shooting for in the final game. this is inside one of the editors, so you can see what this particular plane might look like. So this is the stuff that like just lights me on fire. Like, I'm so excited to learn more about this stuff. These are the kind of things that we'll be doing on streams. Like, you'll be seeing this stuff live on streams eventually. So this is an example of, you have like a grassy knoll that has a small little woods on there, and how you traverse around it. You have, well, maybe there's lake areas here, maybe it's wet here, maybe there's a field of flowers there, and it's really everything that we do kind of informs the path that you might want to take. So you can kind of see it here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I don't think you can, but there's a line that goes through the woods a little bit. And maybe that's a path, or maybe between the two lines is where we want the player to actually go. And so we'll create obstacles that kind of funnel you into that area, or put something there that will inform you that it's possible to go. So this is an example of what normally would be a boring field, but is now it's essentially from this. The flower field area on the left-hand side there. That's what this is. So it goes from this to this. That's what it looks like when it's done. I won't be modifying the game live. I'll be showing like behind the scenes stuff. Is there a weather system in place? There isn't right now, but there will be, Phoenix. We will have weather effects inside the game. Unreal Engine 5 does allow for weather changing capabilities. We don't know how much is going to be involved, because that might be really taxing on some platforms. Like, if you have a monstrous PC, it won't be a problem. But, you know, if this game ever released on a PlayStation 5, could the PlayStation 5 handle that without lowering fidelity? So this was a really cool discussion in this developer diary as well. So, for example, every time there's a log in your path, you will see a stump. And that will inform you, oh, there's probably a broken tree there. So eventually, after you see like 2 or 3 of these, you're going to sort of subconsciously realize, oh, I see a stump, there might be a log there. And you'll be prepared to hit the jump button when you get to that point. So it doesn't interrupt your hiking or anything like that. It's a way to sort of train the player to expect certain things. Or maybe you see a set of cairn stones, maybe that means that there's a hidden cave nearby where you can loot or explore. Things like that are, you know, how we inform what the player is going to be, how the player is going to play the game or interact with the environment. So we're going to go into a little more detail in this afterwards. There's an entire developer diary dedicated to just horse care and horse traits. So this is just essentially a spoiler of what we're going to be talking about at the end here. But these are just some of the examples of the stat screens, very early on stat screen of what it will look like for each individual horse in your herd. But would PlayStation players play the game? Would they like it or not? That's up for them to decide. I'm sure there's plenty of horse people that would play this on consoles, because being able to play it sitting down on a couch is probably really relaxing for a lot of people. Horsetails sold phenomenally well on the Switch because you could take it on the go or play it on your TV. People really liked that. Gray boxing so beaut. Yes. All those damp ponies in the rain. I saw something recently, maybe an article, it said there's no combat. What's there going to be in the game to create an interesting level of tension and difficulty? So actually, Rakdos, the short answer is we don't know what's going to be in the game yet, because it's changing every day. We're so early in development that it's changing every single. We're having meetings every day, like, okay, well, do we include that? Do we not include that? Should we add that? Should we expand on this? And especially with the recent attention of the game and all the feedback we've been getting through social media, there's a lot to work with. So there's tons of ideas. There's not really going to be no combat, but we don't want it to be Red Dead Redemption. Like, we don't want you to have to, like, you know, upgrade your gun and then have to fight bandits in that kind of a same regard, or, you know, break the law or be a sheriff and, like, you know, enforce the law. We don't want it to be like that, because the primary goal is you are a courier. So there is absolutely going to be archery, horseback and otherwise, but we don't know how that's going to play out in the game. Maybe if you are in a dangerous area, you have to protect your encampment, your nomad camp, with traps. or maybe you have to hunt, or maybe you have to solve puzzles or challenges using a bow and arrow or a spear or something related. We don't know what is going to be in the game yet, but there's not going to be no combat. We just don't know what the extent of that combat is. For example, Alice's tweet said no combat, but she really meant like it's not going to be Red Dead. You're not going to be firing rifles at people. There's going like the primary goal is horses for sure. Are you going to have a beta tester on PS5? I would love to. So we don't know. So the short answer is the game is first releasing on early access through Steam. And that's because the early access program allows us to collaborate directly with the people who are buying the game on Steam to be able to build the game out. And then once we're at a certain stage, then we'll take a look at what other platforms are out at that time and which ones would be able to handle the game that we're building by that stage. So it's probably not going to be for a little while, but we're definitely going to have some really fun conversations about that later. I love all this in-engine stuff because it's really fascinating to like zoom out and see what the player sees versus what is actually happening around them. I don't even understand what any of these symbols are besides the text one. I guess that's controls on the upper left there. Yeah, this is like black magic to me. This is like literally black magic. This is like witchcraft to me. It's really cool stuff. All right, Developer Diary 3. So this one's really good. We're going to go back to the actual YouTube just so it's better quality. So Adriano takes full credit for this video. This is phenomenal. So this is a developer talk where we have got folks who are on the actual team, including Adriano, who you're going to see with his glorious mustache, talking about the game and why we're pushing PC early access back to be early next year. Let me answer some questions first. Playing on the PS5 is how I'll get my wife to play it too. Yeah, that's fair, Gon. That's fair. It's very common. A lot of our games, the majority of players are usually on PC, but then the second platform is almost always PlayStation 4 and or PlayStation 5. It's very common. Sony is a big platform for us. The profile looks very promising. I would love it. I need it. I need horse game for PSN. Are you going to have a beta tester on PSN? Oh, yeah, I answered that one. Can't wait to breed the stumpiest, dumpiest horses in the world. I mean, to be fair, the Mongolian horses are very short, but they're rugged. Like they are beasts. They're so strong. I feel like defending your horses in camp from dangerous wild animals will probably be fine in the RDR2 type of deal that they kill wolves and cougars. Yeah, I think it would make sense. And then being able to, respect the kills and the hunts and being able to use every piece of the animal is very important too. Absolutely. Horse witchcraft. I'm imagining a horse shaman, like a horse that is a shaman. How is the GPS detractions in ambulance life? Detractions. GPS I don't know what you mean by that, Smoker. There is a GPS though, and you can set waypoints, which we'll show. I usually don't go for many early access games, but I'm super excited to be part of watching this game grow once it enters early access. Yeah, Amethyst, it's definitely a concern. Early access has been abused by many studios and publishers. There's lots of shovelware, games that never leave early access. Some games that, almost like Kickstarters, where a Kickstarter will go live, but the game is really already done. They're just like kind of faking it, and they're like, yeah, we built a game on $40,000, when that's not true at all. The game was already finished, and that's just extra money to inform their marketing. So there's lots of gimmicks out there. Oh, directions, GPS directions. Yeah, you can do waypoints, Smoker. It's very good. But our early access is not going to be shovelware. We are not trying to scam communities. But I mean, of course, if I was scamming a community, I would say that I wasn't doing that. But I assure you, it's very important to us that we get this game right. It's something that we've been building up to for about the last 6 years. Since the first Windstorm game, this is kind of the direction we always wanted to take, but we just never had the team, the capability to do it, and we just never had the funding from a publisher that believes in the same vision that we do. So now that we have all of that formula has finally come to fruition, now we can finally build the game that we've been wanting to build for almost a decade now. So it's very exciting. You haven't asked for my money yet. I would buy it. The second early access is available. That is the first opportunity you will have to buy it. We will have lots of playtests available as well. Oh, I did also, by the way, promise. Please hold, before we play the developer talk, I did promise that I was going to give somebody a video here. Troy. Hi, Troy. Bye, Troy. Full playlist. Oh, that's the one right here. Okay, this is an old stream VOD. This is what we're doing right now for Legend of Khiimori. I did one of these for Ambulance Life, a paramedic simulator, and that's what that link is for. I forget who it was for. Somebody was asking. I think it was Rectos, right? Was it Rectos? Because you came late. Maybe not. I apologize. I forget exactly who it was. Yeah, there's so many messages. I missed it. But that's who that was for. That's who that was for. My name is Troy. Hi, Troy. Bye, Troy. I just spelled bye wrong. Well, I mean, it was by me. I did do it. Hi, Troy. Bye, Troy. Bye, Troy. Bye, Troy. All right, we're done. Shut up, Troy.
Creating Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori, is a completely new experience for us. The project is much bigger and way more ambitious than any of our previous Windstorm games.
Although this is our third Windstorm game, this time we decided to create a game for people with different core interests.
We don't want to make just another horse game.
We want to combine detailed horse gameplay with a thrilling story in an immersive and explorable world.
With lots of cool gameplay features that you don't normally see in games like this.
Expectations from the community in regards to horse riding are really high. But I would even say that our internal bar is set as high or higher.
Windstorm: The Legend of Khiimori is an open-world action-adventure game where you play as a young courier rider in 13th century Mongolia.
When making a game in any historical setting, there's always a balance between authenticity and actual gaming enjoyment. We're not making a historically accurate simulator here, and that gives us the freedom to explore more mystical aspects of the culture, as well as embrace the peaceful exploration experience.
With The Legend of Khiimori, we want to develop a game for horse lovers, but also for people who like to immerse themselves in an open world to explore the beautiful Mongolian landscape with its various habitats.
I'm going to pause here for a quick second. We're about to talk about how diverse the landscape is, but you're only going to see green stuff. And that's because we haven't built the other environments yet, so there was none to show off yet. So it's a little weird that we're talking about how diverse it is and it's all green fields and forests, but we absolutely know that, and it's something we're working on. We just haven't built all the mountains and tundras and all the other different areas yet.
Mongolia is vast and features multiple biomes. In those expanses, small settlements would spring up. The pastoral nomads were really always ready to move, so they oftentimes did not live in permanent structures like stone huts. They just took their yurts and moved on to new pastures or milder weather. They didn't really own much, but the things they did have, they took great care of. Surrounding those nomadic settlements is the vastness of Mongolia. The landscape is not only vast, but also really diverse. Ancient dark woods are as naturally occurring as wide sweeping grassy plains. Streams, boulders, mountains, cozy birch groves are all common features of this land, ready to be explored by the players.
It's so pretty.
As a cargo rider, your horse plays an important role in exploring the vast Mongolian landscape. No matter if snowy mountains or wide grasslands, all cargo needs to be delivered. Train your horses to build and maintain bonds and unleash their full potential. With our breeding system, it will be possible to breed horses over generations in order to utilize their best skills and thus overcome paths that once seemed insurmountable. Before you start a new delivery, you need to create a detailed plan and prepare well for the next mission. At a later stage of the game, you will have to travel further distances to deliver the goods. Therefore, you need to strategically move your camp to new locations to minimize the distances.
Magrins, please.
After successful deliveries and acquiring resources along the way, you can build up your Mongolian camp buildings called gers. One of the most famous traditional Mongolian skills is mounted archery. We used this gameplay feature in the second Windstorm game, and now we bring it back, better than ever before. For example, we are currently designing arrows with different effects, with which you will be able to solve various challenges in the open world.
The creation of the art style for Windstorm: The Legend of Khiimori was, and continues to be, an incredible journey. That handcrafted feeling is the groundwork of what we want to reflect in our art. The very essence of making equipment and then owning it for a lifetime, polishing it, smoothing out the little bumps and bruises, improving it, adding a little scrap of color here and there. Little things like straps of cloth bound around chests and baskets, symbols of local tribes embedded into each village, will make everything way more beautiful and alive. On top of it all, the Mongols are renowned horse people. Horses are the lifeblood of the whole society. They carry loads and provisions, they are companions and means of travel, and we want to put as much realism and beauty as we can into those majestic creatures. Luckily, we do have a few equestrians in our company, myself included, and we can get first-hand experience and information from them.
This, by the way, is Simon walking behind the horse, filming live footage of a horse walking over a bridge. That's the sound that you're hearing. That's what was recorded.
The scope for publishing a game in early access first is very different to a regular release. On one side, we need to focus so much on the playable parts for early access, polishing everything. On the other, we must not lose sight of the full game. The size of the team has also increased. A lot of new colleagues have joined in the last few months, and everyone has cool ideas on how to make the best game possible. Collecting all these wishes and feedback from our team is great, but can be challenging, as we don't want to hold our horses, but also need to keep
Rupert, please.
control of the overall schedule, so sometimes we have to prioritize. Overall, it's wonderful to work with that many talented people who take the project seriously and are truly passionate about it. Because there's a lot more content in the pipeline, and we want to make sure to keep the level of quality throughout the game.
To achieve this goal, we decided very early on that we need to involve our community
Look at that beautiful mustache. What a fine specimen.
in our work as soon as possible. We are constantly trying to offer playtests at an early stage, even if the game is still far from being truly playable and has many placeholders in it. But this gives us a chance to get crucial information from the players. It is really important for us to understand what exactly our and communities like Horse Expert want and expect for Windstorm: The Legend of Khiimori.
God, this game's so pretty.
Fans of the franchise are probably wondering, what happened to our former protagonist Mika? She's alive and well, but something seems to have happened to Windstorm. We don't want to reveal too much about her appearance in the game, because that would spoil the story. But she will definitely play a role in Windstorm: The Legend of Khiimori.
Working on the outside of this game is incredibly rewarding. We hope that the players will share in this feeling of wonder and excitement while exploring the vast and vivid world of Windstorm.
Come ride with us.
Thank you for watching our developer talk video.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed it and that we were able to give you some interesting insights into our game. If you haven't seen enough yet, feel free to follow our social media channels and Discord. We share awesome assets and behind-the-scenes footage there, as well as interesting information like when we start our playtests. So stay tuned and see you soon.
I had to wait for it to end because that music is so good. So good. So there you go, guys. Let me catch up on chat now. I love Magrins. He could be stumpier. he could be stumpier. You're not wrong. And that will be your goal. 10 out of 10 would say bye again. Troy, thoughts on plushies for the games? Oh my God, Phoenix, that would be so fun. Why wouldn't we? They're really expensive. That's why we wouldn't. But I will look into it. That's a guarantee. I'm re-downloading Horsetails, damn you. I'm sorry, not sorry, little Dino Nuggy. Look at them horses run. How long did it take for the team to get to this point in development? I think 10 months right now. I think that's accurate. I think so. It's been almost a year or so. we approach development in this game a little differently than some of our other games and the way some studios might. Instead of doing like one system, like, okay, the courier system is done, now we're going to move on to the environment, and now we're going to move on to the camp building, and now we're going to work on the world map. We're kind of working on everything in tandem, so like everything is 10% done instead of one thing being 100% done. And there's benefits and detriments to doing it that way. So we're kind of experimenting and seeing how it goes. The one of the biggest downsides is that there's less to show you because less has been finished, if that makes sense. So like there's a lot of little things that have been done, but it's hard to be able to show that off without showing really rough like gray box footage, you know? What a chonker. Wow, the graphics, beautiful game. Taller ponies, yay. That got my attention as well. Pretty amazing. Quite sturdy looking breeds of Mongolia, indeed. Love the details, love it. They remind me of the Dolhests, tanky babies. They're so stunning. Yes, so the studio is located in Munich, Germany, but we have people all over. I think we have like, our studio represents like 23 countries, I think. Like Switzerland, America, India, a couple of parts in Asia, England, Sweden, Ukraine. Like there's people from all over, like really all over. We're an international studio, but we're based in Munich, Germany. That's correct. Will a mixed foal be a visual mix of the parents, or will the foal just have the body of one of the breeds from the parents? I imagine it'll be pretty close together, Fireheart. We're taking color coats pretty seriously when it comes to the breeding. So I imagine that you will be able to notice that it's the foal of one particular set of parents. I'm not saying it's 100% confirmed, but I would be surprised if there wasn't at least some unique identifiers in that regard. Will there was a horse with paint, will I be able to paint my horses? We don't know, Fireheart, but probably. I'm sure that there will be multiple ways to be able to customize your horses on top of just new tax. Can we tame dogs? I don't know. That would be sick. I want to get onto that tweet. Can you pet the dog? I want us to be in there. Pre-production starts with a fairly small team, and then you ramp up and get going. That's true. Thank you, Windot. Can I suggest to the developers that the option to help guard the ponies while out on routes? What do you mean by that, Phoenix? Like you have somebody else guarding your camp while you're out on routes? Or do you mean like you are responsible for guarding your own ponies while you're walking on routes? All right, and now the big one that a lot of people are waiting for. Dev Diary number 4 covered out. This one went out to all the horse lovers. This one was all about horse training and horse care. So again, I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details of this one, but this shows you what the stable hands looked like and the different tools that they used and carried. Horses as individuals. This is a very similar screenshot to the one before. So we have actually the exact same one, but it's updated stats. On the other one, it was everything but trust was 100%. So this is Cinna. Everybody say hello to Cinna. Hi, Cinna. So every horse has permanent traits. You know, they can run, they can gallop, they can jump. Just as basic examples, but you also have trust-based stats. So these are traits that will be built up as the horse comes to trust you over time, and it's something that is unique to that horse, or unique to what you're putting that horse through. So for example, if you are doing lots of mountain climbing, maybe a trust-based trait for that horse is that horse becomes really amazing at climbing and walking on mountainous terrain, as an example. There's also going to be special traits which we don't have a lot of details on yet, but the idea behind this is that it's a very unique trait to only that horse, or maybe that bloodline of horse, or maybe because these two trust-based traits were the parents, this foal has a special trait as a result of that. So that's kind of the idea behind what a special trait and trust-based traits are going to be. And there's also going to be their stamina level, how healthy they are, how much water they need, if they're hungry and need food. All that stuff is going to take into account. And what I personally really like are the skills in the upper right hand corner. You have what their turning radius is, like degrees per second, how quickly how tight of a turn that horse can actually make, what their absolute maximum speed is, how quickly they can accelerate to max speed. This is like a car. This is like all the stats of a car you would get, which is why it's horsepower in a car. This is so much more involved than I expected. Revolutionary in horse games. We hope so. This is the level of detail that you can expect on the horse side of things in this game. 100%. So at the bottom right, you can see, well, there's equipment. Equipment is going to include like saddlebags. And how you pack your saddlebags will affect your riding. If it's uneven, that's going to affect your gait and your horse's capabilities. There's also going to be like different tacks, different bridles. All this stuff is going to be into the game as well. Buffs and statistics. Statistics are essentially like as you sort of level the horse up, you can build up certain things. Maybe you want them to be really fast and have really good balance. Then that's what you can put your stats into. All that stuff. Senna is all speed and extremely clumsy. Perfection. It's true. She has no balance whatsoever. Has none. She has no balance whatsoever. More horse simulation. Just a lot of fun. Yeah. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. This is what we imagine or envision the horse merchants will look like. So you will have multiple chances to, investigate the stats or the history behind a specific horse. Maybe trade one of your horses. You can breed horses to trade, things like that. So this is just one example of what we envision this will look like. Again, all of this is a work in progress. None of this is confirmed or finalized. We're just trying to figure out when we put this in the game, what's it going to look like, kind of a thing. But this is something that we want to do for sure. There's also care and consequences. So somebody asked earlier, I can't remember who it was, about can horses die? I think, was that you, Dino Nuggy? Or was that Maluna? Actually, I think that was Maluna, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Maluna, because you said you don't know if you could handle that. I remember that now. So I'm going to read through these 4 paragraphs because this covers that. So in Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori, every horse has hunger, thirst, health, and stamina values that can get drained and filled through gameplay. Cinna can't die, she can outrun age. Together, these values make up the horse's overall condition, which in turn influences how fast the horse gains trust or gets its attributes trained. We want there to be more than one way to satisfy a horse's hunger and thirst, so we're going to let them eat humans. No, I'm kidding. A horse left alone near water or grass will simply graze to drink by itself, whereas the player may have to carry food items such as hay or grain to feed by hand when crossing more barren terrain. Horses left at home in camp will be fed so that the player needn't worry about them starving when they go on long journeys throughout the world. Plot twist. Yes, we have man-eating horses in this game. Twitter, we do not. One horse game staple feature that we're very consciously avoiding with Windstorm Legend of Khiimori is the sort of care minigame that takes the player out of the regular gameplay and has to be repeated for every owned horse. Our goal is that horse care interactions should add to making the horses feel alive, but not become overly tedious. And we're guilty of this in the previous Windstorm games where it's, okay, I'm going to go on my next mission. Oh, Windstorm's too tired. You have to go to the stable. So then you go to the stable and you have to brush him off with 2 different types of brushes. And then you have to muck his shoes. And then you have to clean out all of his dirty stable hay. And then you can go back on the mission. It really pulls you out of the game. It almost makes you feel like, oh, okay, I'm just going to turn it off. I'll deal with that when I turn it back on later. So that's something that we wanted to avoid in this game. That doesn't mean that the horses can't be neglected without consequences, however. Reckless riding or encounters with environmental hazards may have a negative impact on your horse's health. This then needs to be taken care of through rest or medicine, or you'll risk worsening the horse's condition to the point where it becomes unrideable. Here, too, our intention is to keep the gameplay accessible and fun, for health conditions to add a bit of complexity to the player's exploration and traversal, but not make it punishing. So this is just an example. This is what a normal screen might look like. We have Mika as a picture up there, she is in the game at some point. But at the right hand side, you can see all your controls. On the left bottom corner, you can see your horse's health gauge. And we just kind of highlight it in this one so you can just see it a little bit better on the bottom left there. So that gives you an indicator into what their energy is, how hungry they are, how thirsty they are, what their health looks like, all that good stuff. Intentions are well and good, but whether these conditions and care interactions are fun is something we'll then, of course, evaluate with our early playtesters. If you want to be one of those playtesters, here you go. Before, there's a certain part in this that does cover the horse dying part, so I want to get that. Here we go. Horses in Windstorm, the Legend of Khiimori, will not grow old and die, but the potential stat effectively shows you how much more training any horse is up for. A foal you've bred yourself will have high potential and none of it allocated with its specific stats yet, while an adult horse you buy from a merchant or tame from the wild herd might already come with a set of skills that you cannot influence as freely. So that answers your question, Maluna. So horses won't grow old and die, they'll just become less useful, or their maximum capabilities will plateau. So it will be to your benefit to continue to tame new horses and to breed new foals so that you get, the attributes that you're looking for, special traits that you might want, and then build them up with your trust traits to build the perfect machine for a specific task you want. Maybe there's an area or like a hidden cave with special loot up high on a mountain, but you don't have any horses that can get to that yet. So you would take the time it takes through the course of the game to build one, and now you can go and explore that area. That's just one example of how we envision some of the challenges behind informing what breeding could look like in the game. Could they be slower as they grow old? I don't know. Potentially. The way this is, I don't know 100% because I didn't write this. This was written by our horse experts on the team. But it sounds to me like they're not going to grow old and die, but their potential stat effectively shows you how much more training any horse is up for. So it doesn't sound like they're going to get slower. They're just never going to get faster. That's the maximum that they can do. And there's also, if we go all the way back to here, all the way back, I scrolled like 1 inch. And the bottom left statistics, you have a maximum amount of points that you can give out to any one horse. So if you put into all agility, endurance, and balance and never put into speed, they're never going to get faster because you can never get another point again, if that makes sense. So this horse's potential score is a 95. The max can be 114. So the highest that they can get is, another 20 points, 19 points. So that gives you a little bit of insight into what it looks for. So like the speed can only ever be so fast because you only get X number of points to be able to attribute to a specific horse stats. I hope that answers your question at least a little bit. Will they have like side missions? Yeah, I'm sure that they will. I'm sure that's going to be a major part of the game for sure. Well, that covers all the developer diary stuff. So we're pretty much caught up on that. Let me make sure that I'm caught up on chats. I know I may have missed a couple in here. Cynic can't die. She can outrun age. That kills me, Magrins. I hope it'll be a difficulty setting. So most of our simulator, even though this isn't like a straight simulator game, our simulator games, we have like a more casual setting and a more immersive setting. And that is obviously to cater to different audiences who don't want to use blinkers when they're in a patrol car pretending to be a police officer. They don't want to have to worry about that stuff. So like there's different options for that. And I'm sure that there will be difficulty settings. Accessibility, as a gamer myself, accessibility options are very important to me. It's limited what we can put in our games because it depends on the scope of the game, the budget for the game, what the publisher agrees that they want to have in a game. So I can't promise accessibility settings, at least in any extent variety. But it's something that I always push for and strive for because I think that it's very important that we make our games as accessible for all of our gamers as possible. Less diva horses. Yes, indeed. Yes, horse care would ruin the game for non-horsey people, so that's great to hear. I agree, Raktos. I agree. Hey, you guys think about adding online at any time? I don't know. It's hard to imagine what this game would look like because you're kind of your own character with your own life. So I don't know what it would look like to have multiplayer in this game. Except maybe having like a second co-op person in the same herd with you. We don't know because we don't know what the scope of the game is yet, like what the actual gameplay loops are going to be, what the challenges in the game are going to be, like what the lore, what the myth is, how you're going to traverse from one area to the next. We can't really envision what multiplayer will look like if it ever happened without having all that set in first place. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say. I'm not saying no because like it's not up to me, but I'm just saying I don't know what it would look like because we don't know what the game looks like yet. So we're still very, very early. Please make me able to not the controls. I don't want to see them the whole time. Oh, you mean like hide the UI? I'm sure that that'll probably be an option. Yeah. We do the same thing like in Ambulance Life and in Police Simulator. It's the same thing. When you first get into a vehicle, it'll show you the all the controls. But then once you get out of the vehicle or you're in this vehicle the second time, you don't see them again. It's really just like a refresher each time you hop in. So I imagine it'll probably be something like that, or you'll be able to have the option to turn it off. But that's very good feedback. I appreciate that, Fireheart. But will it fit bringing Mika into this scenario? Won't that dilute the Mongolian experience? That's a great question, Snooth. Also, welcome in. I forgot to say welcome when you first spoke earlier. So the main story, for those who are not familiar with Windstorm, the story behind the lore behind Ostwind or Windstorm is that there's this untamable wild stallion named Windstorm. Nobody can tame him. He refuses to perform. He won't work as a workhorse. He really just kind of is just a troublemaker on the farm. Nobody understands him and he doesn't trust anybody. Mika is like a 16, 17-year-old girl who's visiting her grandmother's farm where Windstorm is, and they create a connection together. And the ranch hand, Herr Khan, Mr. Khan, realizes that Mika may have the ability of what's known as a Nordsach, which is it's a made-up word. It's fabricated for the Windstorm series, but the Windstorm series claims that it's a name that ancient Mongolians used to call the sleeper. It's somebody who used to sleep with the horses that has a special ability to communicate and speak to horses that other humans don't have. It's a unique trait, like an ancestral trait belonging to a single person or a group of people. And he determines through the course of the movies and books that she is one of these sleepers, one of these people that can communicate with horses. And that's why they have this connection. And the idea is that like these two souls are intertwined through time. So even when they die, they find each other again in their next lives. And they always like come back together as a horse and a human in some capacity. So we don't know what the lore and how it's going to connect to Windstorm yet, but it is a Windstorm game. So there's probably, maybe it's going to be like the origin of that. Who knows? We have a narrative writer who's starting at the company starting this month. Well, this month, I mean like by Monday. And that's when we're going to really sit down and start hammering out what the narrative is going to look like. Informed, of course, by all the recent attention and what people are thinking or what people expect in the game. So that's just a little bit of background. I can't wait for Troy to share Ambulance Life updates. I know, Smoker. I wish that I had more for you. I really do. But as soon as I do, you're going to be the first person I ping. I promise you. Character customization or a set protagonist? We don't know. I know character customization was a discussion very early on. It's something that we wanted. Horsetails was like very limited. You picked essentially like one of two genders. And then you could pick like different hairstyles or different facial shapes, and then you could pick your name. It wasn't as robust as something like Skyrim or Baldur's Gate 3. It wasn't anything that robust or in depth, but we don't know what it's going to look like yet. We don't know if there's going to be time to add a detailed customer creation mode, or if it might just be easier to create like a male and a female protagonist or body A, body B type. We don't know yet. So it's still in progress. Will we be able to cut the hair of the horse's mane and tail, and will it grow back over time? That's a great question, Fireheart. Adriana's going to write that one down, and we'll take it back to the team. I don't have an answer for that, but that's a really good question. That would be really cool. It would be good if you can get character customized only in online, because it's going to have it only in online because it's going to have story on single player. Yeah, maybe. Amazing detail idea. Yeah, I agree. That's a really cool idea. Okay, any other questions, guys? At least the customizing the outfit and livery would be very teal. Would be awesome. Yeah. We have lots of thanks, Adriano. We have a list of, not a list, but we have a selection of different costume options in a lot of our games. So for example, we have in Horsetails, we have different tacks for the horses, different bridle banners, all that stuff. We also have like clothing for your character. And then in Police Simulator Patrol Officers, there's quite a variety of different costumes. You can go, when you start your shift in the simulator, you can go right to your locker and pick any number of things, including a Windstorm mask, a big goofy helmet. It's so funny. It's so good. But we have like Miami Vice Hawaiian shirts. You have like undercover outfits. You've got like bullet vests, like all that stuff in Police Simulator. It came in over time, but yeah. I would make cookies for you all. Well, if you're ever in Munich, stop on by. We will definitely eat cookies. I say we, but it's them. I'm in Los Angeles. I would not be enjoying the cookies. How realistic is the color genetics? I really like the horse color genetics. We actually have a couple of experts in the Discord, now that you mention it, Fireheart, that are actually trained or educated on horse color genetics, coat color genetics specifically. It's something that's very close to us too. It's something we take seriously. When we did horse breeding in Horsetails, we made sure that it was accurate. So two color coats would never be able to produce this specific color coat. So it was coded into the game that you would only get related color coats based on the color coats that were bred in the first place. So I imagine it's going to be quite detailed, if not more detailed, than Windstorm: The Legend of Khiimori for sure. How does that work for size differences? I don't know the formula, but we did take that a little bit into account in Horsetails. I don't know how in depth it went with size differences, but it definitely was with genetics in general. Awesome. I think we're slowing down on the questions. Yeah, guys? I know that there's only so much that I can answer, but we are like that early in. What I am going to do is let me get you... I'm going to get you the form for the playtesters, guys. So give me 1 sec. That's the one. Yeah. That's a sketchy ass link, but I promise you that's the Legend of Khiimori registration form. So if you have not already signed up, please sign up. One more question. Will you have to worry about food and drink on your character as well? I don't think so, but I don't know 100% for sure. Oh, the game window is broken. Perfect. Nailed it. So we still have, I don't know. I've been going for 2 hours. I'll go for maybe another half hour or 25 minutes, and I'll just show you guys the first Windstorm game that we remastered and brought back to the world. Please let me know if the volume is too loud. It's good for me in my headphones, but it's a little different for you guys on stream. So let me know if the volume is okay. It's lagging so bad. It's loading everything in the background. Were you able to geld a stallion? I don't know, Fireheart. That's another good question. Yeah, Magrins, absolutely. Thanks for stopping by. We had so many new people stop by. It's awesome. It's awesome to see all the new faces. We're very active in our Discord. Please stop by the Discord. We're building a whole community there. We have about 1,500 people in there now. Okay, let's see. Let's go to a ride.
Mika uses her special talent to feel what horses feel to help other horses as well. Horse owners who experience some issues with their animals take them to Kaltenbach Estate. There, Mika tries to establish a connection to the horses in order to uncover any underlying problems. Actually, most difficulties can be attributed to the owners rather than the horses. However, some of the horses that are different can react in an unpredictable way, as Mika will learn soon. There is more work for you in Windstorm. Ride to the blue marking I have placed for you. Stop inside the marking and then start the mission.
Start the mission. So that's Herr Khan. That's Mr. Khan. Oh, this game is so pretty, especially compared to the original. It was wonky. So this is Windstorm, and this is Mika. Say hi. Hi, Windstorm. All right. We're back in the saddle, chat. We're back in the saddle. Let me get to a really pretty area really quick, and I will show you the photo mode. Yeah, we'll just lean up against this. So this is the photo mode that we have in the remaster of Windstorm, Start of a Great Friendship. So there's lots of different options. You can do, you know, the field of view. You can go really in, the display. You can add filters. You can mess with the color grading, the depth of field. All the different screen effects you can add, like you can affect sharpness and add film grain. Let's see. You can add frames so that, you know, if you end up making like an Instagram 1x1 image, you can add a frame around it and make it look fancy. And you can add the logo. And my favorite is you can change poses. This is actually probably my favorite. Maybe the rear. The rear is actually probably my favorite when it comes to like some shots. You're gonna have her looking at the camera as best as she can based on the... It's really creepy to actually turn like this though. She follows you. I've seen enough horror movies to know where this is going. Yeah, so that's the photo mode. You can do quite a bit with it. There's some really beautiful areas in the game that you can take advantage of, like in front of rainbows and waterfalls, flying crop planes, broken down buildings, train stations, really cool stuff. Animals, there's wildlife as well. So realistically, this game is honestly like, it's just fetch quests. It's like collecting like 100 you know, wooden statues, or collect 20 fern leaves, stuff like that. But honestly, I just love vibing. I just love vibing in the game. Is the volume okay for you guys? Once we get to this blue area, this will start a little mission for you, just a side mission, so you can see what it's like. There's lots of there's just a really chill game. It's meant to be like, you know, a 6-hour game. You could just sit down and play it. But you have, we added a couple of new things. So not only are there normal collectibles in the game, but we added more collectibles. We also added hiking trails. So some trees will be marked with a trail marker. And if you follow the whole trail marker, you get an achievement for finishing all the different trails. Stuff like that. Deer. Hello, deer. You just skid on the ground. It's not a perfect game. It's still a 6-year-old game that we updated. Volume's good? Okay, perfect. Thank you. We might be behind. Is my stream lagging for you guys? Or is it just lagging for me? I'm going to refresh real quick. Weird. I'm gonna pause my stream because I think it's just lagging for me. Oh yeah, it's like Chrome is freaking out. Yeah, I'll let just the chat run. Yeah, it's lagging for me. That's fine. All right, let's see what mission we get. What? Did it take me out of the mission? Hello?
Mika, since you
That's
have
so
a
weird.
way with problem horses,
Wow, Grandma. That sounds a little, that sounds a little accusatory.
Usually it's not the horses that are problematic, Grandma.
Yeah, Grandma.
whatever.
Gam Gam?
Some of our customers have just returned without their horses, but with bruises all over their bodies.
Ouch. Have the horses thrown them off? Are the horses okay?
I love, she doesn't ask if the riders are okay. Are the horses okay? Mika knows what's up. Mika knows what's up.
I don't know. After the incident, they have gone missing, so I want you to go look for them right away. The last thing we need is losing our customers' horses.
Yeah, we can't use that.
Calm down, Grandma. Windstorm and I are on our way.
Never tell an old woman to calm down. She doesn't even sound that worked up. She's like, we need to do this because it's important to keep our customers. Damn, Grandma, relax, chill. Whoa. It's like, all right.
Could you please look for the horses, Mika? If anything happens to them, we might lose some customers.
I like how that's her worry is capitalism. We might lose money. Oh, no. I don't know what they look like. Okay, so there's 5 horses. Oh. Dear. What I should do actually is I should go to the border first. There's some invisible walls here where it looks like you can go and you can't. All right, looks like this is a border. So let's see if there's anything at the bottom of the hill. No. Okay, so we're safe here. So now we'll try to stay on the path as best we can while still going the border. Let's see what we can find. No one here. It's hard because like these areas are they're very convoluted with lots of oops, I hit the wrong button. I hit B instead of X. You gonna make me back up? No, it's gonna push me through. Good. There's lots of like winding paths, so it's hard to just easily explore a small area like this. Oh, here's one.
Good, these have all been in this area. However, more of them must be hidden in the next area.
Oh no, there's different. Oh boy. Okay. Is this gonna be the fastest way? It looks like it. Looks like it, 'cause I think that's the orange. Yeah, that's way over there. Damn, I go to 5 different areas. I keep hitting the wrong button. It's this button. That one. I keep hitting like the back button, which doesn't do anything. Put them right in your pocket. Indeed. Wait, no, I gotta go this way. That's a dead end on the right there. Can I cross here? Maybe? Yeah, this will work. Yeah. Okay. We don't know what color they're going to be, chat, so we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled. I am going to kind of stick around the border as best I can, though, because it's really frustrating to like explore the whole inside and then be like, oh, it's like some weird border. It's like stuck behind a rock or between a fence and a wall. Okay, well, we can see almost all of this. Let's see if we can see it from here. That's a great view, though. It's actually beautiful. Okay, I don't see the horse, though. So we continue again. Yeah, that area is like technically covered over there, but I don't think there's a way to easily traverse that, so I don't think it's going to be up there. Man, these balloons cast a big shadow. I don't see any horsies. Do you see any horsies? I feel like Steve from Blue's Clues.
I should ride back into the marked area.
Oh, should you, Mika? Do you think you should? Do you think you should? Maybe it is up on that cliff. That would be annoying. Well, let's go see. Chrome eating 15 gigabytes of RAM for appetizer. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, I can't really get up there, so I don't think it's going to be up there. They must be blending in really well. All right, let's see. Let's see. I guess we'll just check each obstacle and see if they're around those. This is essentially what the game is. It's like you have to find things, or you have to, you know, beat yourself in a race. Oh, here we go. It's the horsey. It's the horsey.
Hey, these have all been in this area. However, more of them must be hidden in the next area.
Do you think so, Mika? Do you think so? Maybe you're right. This game takes place shortly after the first movie, and then the second game, An Unexpected Arrival, is based on Ari's arrival, which is the second or third movie. I think it's the third movie. I don't remember. Horsey! Here, horsey, 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 horsey. Moo! Not horsies. It's gonna throw me off having the cows here, because I'm gonna be like, oh, I see it, and it's not it. Okay, not here. That's an invisible wall. I recognize that one. Maybe. Oh, wait. Wait, it shows it on the map for me? Wait, chat. Were the other ones blue on the map? Am I having a stroke? This is the first one that's actually highlighted in the map for me, no?
Good, these have all been in this area. However, more of them must be hidden in the next area.
Am I wrong? Was the last one highlighted? They were? Oh my god. Good, so I'm just an idiot. That's crazy. All right, I'm not even gonna, I'm looking only at the map. I'm not even looking at the terrain, because now I'm mad. Damn, this is a big area. This area is huge. If they don't mark it on the map, I'll never find it. Oh, this one's separated by a cliffside too. I don't want to go that way. That's a dead end. Oh, can I make that? No, it's not gonna let me. That would be too easy. No blue dots yet. Chat, I think I'm being gaslit by my own game. No blue dots. At least you get the beautiful landscape, though. Still no blue dots. I don't know what's going on. This is a huge area. This is crazy. This is only the 4th horse, too. There it is. Son of a... All right. You win, game. You win. You gonna let me cross here? Yeah, you are. Nice. Nice-oo. Where are you? Do I see you? I think I see you. Oh, can't go that way. I gotta go around. There you are. There you are, you chonky little boy.
Good. These have all been in this area. However, more of them must be hidden in the next area.
Damn, where? This must be so far away. I don't see any hint in the sky. Which direction? I'm trying to do it on purpose. Okay, it says it's this way. Oh, there it is. Now I see it. The orange only goes up, so... Oh, that's a big area. Oh, no. Oh, no. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop, clippity-clop. Yeah, it doesn't show it. It doesn't show the area on there. And I can't set a waypoint. I just have to go by the orange arrows until I could actually see it in the distance. Sorry if the stream is lagging at all, games, or the game looks like it's like stuttering. My Chrome is freaking out and I can't read chat without it, so sorry. What's the best path? Oh, that's an invisible wall. Can't go there. Is this a path? Yeah, that's a path. Clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity 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 clop. It's not stuttering on my end, at least. Okay, good. I think it's just like my my OBS and my system are like lagging on this side, so. All right, we're gonna have to go around the lake. We're gonna go outside the circle. This is a weirdly drawn region this time. I like how it's like covering half the lake. I know he's not gonna be in the lake. So like, I don't have to look there. Still no blue dot though. Interesting. There it is. There it is. Whee! That was a big jump. Good boy. Can I go this way? Yeah.
What a relief.
I didn't even see it.
The horses are unharmed. Well done, Mika. Fortunately, you have a way with problem horses.
Is that like a dig at me? Is she saying I'm a problem, so like I get along with problem horses? What is that supposed to mean, Grandma? Come on, Gam Gam. Enough with the shade. Nice. Well, now you get to see the rainy environment.
For you in Windstorm. Ride to the blue marking I have placed for you. Stop inside the marking and then start the mission.
So this is what it looks like when it rains. So this is what, you know, you can sort of expect. I mean, not really. This is still like very old. It's just updated. But this is, you know, the type of environment change you might be able to expect in Legend of Khiimori. It's obviously going to be much more realistic and detailed than this because this is a very old game. It's just updated on a new engine. What? No, it was not. It was not. He was kidding. Because like half the area that was available was in the lake, and I'm like, well, I know the horse is not going to be in the lake, so it's going to be somewhere around it. Yeah, that's it, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out today. This was fun. This was a 2.5 hour stream. This is long, but we had a lot to talk about. So I really appreciate everybody stopping by today. I know a lot of people have already checked out because they got the answers they needed. But if you have not yet already, please, please, please wish list The Legend of Khiimori. Tell everybody that you know who might be interested in the game. Even if they enjoy something like Red Dead, maybe they'll find something in this game that they'll enjoy. But wishlisting is free, and it helps us out as the developer tremendously. It's a really great way to support us. Tell people about the game, retweet all of our tweets, share our TikToks, all that good stuff. We have a lot more to show you as we start getting ready for all these playtests pretty soon. And once all of our internal meetings start happening about what exactly the game is going to start looking like, we'll be able to share more details with you. But in the meantime, definitely take a look at the Steam page. We'll be doing more developer diaries every single month. I think the next one is going to be like a little closer to Halloween, maybe, because we just had one a week ago. So probably like 3 or 4 weeks from now is when the next one is. And eventually they'll be at the end of every single month is what they'll end up being again. And that's it. We will be back here on stream every single Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Central European time. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out. I will see you soon. Have a great day.